Victor Wembanyama just turned 21 years old, and he already might be an MVP candidate. If you're typing nasty grams, hit send quickly because it's about to get crazy. We are watching a GOAT candidate with no clear ceiling ascend faster than expected in real time. He might be the best defender in the league already, and now he's taking a leap as an offensive player. Look at where he ranks in these impact metrics. Only MVP finalists, the very best of the best, will have a better portfolio of composite metrics. The thing is, Wemby's been even better over the last month, where he ranks third in our box score model, averaging a hefty 31 points per 75 on efficiency that is 5% better than average. Even if he cools off a little, he'll still be ahead of everyone but the very best scorers in the sport right now. But I want to emphasize his feel for the game, his vision and understanding that make me think he can be an elite offensive weapon moving forward. He could look to turn and shoot here, but instead instinctively removes this defender by playing give and go up top with a lob. This time he catches it on the move and attacks with the dribble, runs into two defenders so he kicks it out, and immediately after passing, he back cuts while facing the ball because he can catch and spin in one motion. There's subtle stuff too, like coming down and getting a screen from Chris Paul, feeling Cat cheat over, and back cutting instead for a running finish. And look at how he's starting to jump before he catches the ball, so his footwork is clean for the finish and there's no charge. Watch the clock at the end of the quarter during his Christmas masterpiece. Wemby waits until there are 2 seconds left, then kamikazes toward the ball because there isn't time left to pass. And I'm not sure I've ever seen that before, but it almost induced New York into not getting a shot off. And he already takes these calculated gambles on defense based on the situation, smothering the ball in the corner like this, or already spotting a tell in Julius Randle and sprinting up to rip him from behind for the turnover. This time he's lurking near Jamal Murray's post-up, acts like he's going to contest it, but baits Murray into a pass and a near steal. On this play, the defense switches the pick and roll, everyone's matched up well, and Wemby could back cut right here because his defender's watching the ball, but instead he waits for Paul to turn and see him, and then casually lobs it to Sohan out of the corner instead of shooting. My God. His feel and basketball IQ really show up in his passing, where he's already one of the best passing big men in the league. His interior passing is already elite, cutting and hitting this on the move, and even at 7'4", he will bust out shovel passes in the paint like this. This one's a little mind-bending, where he's stripped from behind on his move, then shovels the loose ball to a cutting teammate, and that is incredible processing speed to spot an advantage while scraping it off the floor. And this is one of the most creative passes maybe I've ever seen, where he's posting up and sort of spins into a lob off that cut, and his height and bendiness totally unlock unique passing angles. Like, he gets a screen in the corner like a guard here, and when he curls off into help, he just pauses in the air to read the defense and then floats it over everyone. On this play, he's running pick and roll, turns the corner, and then off the dribble feathers it over Rudy Gobert. And even at his height, Wemby can pass off the live bounce like this. He really likes the quick trigger release on the move with the left hand bounce pass, and he does this out of so many different dynamic reads, attacking Gobert in isolation just to shoehorn it between help defenders. And since that didn't work, he said, let's try it in pick and roll, and wraps it around Rudy for the stuff. This man just turned 21, and he's already a prolific user of the advanced technique of the shot pass, where he uses that height, jumps up in the air to shoot, and just lulls defenders to sleep for layups instead. He comes down in transition against the Nuggets, looks like he's pulling up from deep, but touches it right over the top for an easy dunk. And then in the final minutes of the game, trailing by 2, he went to launch as the trailer, but dropped it over 3 Nuggets, and the Spurs went on to upset Denver. And this is where his passing and huge scoring start to amplify each other. Defenses throw more attention at him, and he responds to that attention by creating higher percentage offense for his team. A big part of that scoring jump is his improved outside shooting, where he's at 35% on nearly 10 threes per game. So he's already taking nearly the same amount of threes he took in his entire rookie season, just at higher percentages and from all kinds of range. His shot just looks better in general to me from everywhere. And while his selection can still be a little aggressive for my taste, he's hitting pull-ups and moving catch-and-shoot jumpers from all kinds of angles with pretty good proficiency. And that opens up the paint for teammates and spaces the floor from the center position. And it unlocks some of these great plays. A little bite on the up fake gets him downhill for the great layup pass. And we saw the lob over Rudy Gobert earlier, but it only happened because Wemby's defender chased him over the screen to take away his shooting, because too many teams have sagged off or gone under screens and been burned by his outside shot. And of course, all that jump passing doesn't happen without the threat of his shot attracting multiple defenders. So even at 7'4", there's a ton of meta value in shooting decently well from all over the court. Despite criticisms about not living in the low post, he actually uses his size a lot on offense. We've discussed how he's one of the great lob targets the league has ever seen, out of pick and roll or just by hovering near the basket. He can't root smaller players under the rim with strength, but he certainly will post up and shoot right over them. And some of his rebounds are just cartoonish, like an adult playing with middle schoolers in the park. So he's able to play on the perimeter a good amount, yet still provide offensive rebounding because of his mobility. On this play, he's spacing on the outside, and again has that great feel to time up the crash and just go and steal the board and clean up the miss for 2. Of course, his size has made him a one-man defense at just 21. He absolutely locks down the paint area, leading the league at nearly 4 blocks per game. He can extend all over the floor in different coverages and recover from the paint out to the three-point line, and he can come out beyond the line to pick up guards and then recover back into the paint to wreck them from behind. It's one thing to camp out in the lane and guard the basket like a goalkeeper, but Vic's extraordinary at altering shots in rear view pursuit. Yes, he actually reaches over the 7-foot Jokic to block this with those giant fingertips. Unreal. So you end up with possessions where he's everywhere, meeting the ball in pick and roll, flipping around to defend the lob pass, then on the reset, stepping up to freak out Kyle Lowry, and finally play the traditional rim protection role at the hoop. Last year, we talked extensively about how players are basically afraid to shoot around Wemby, foregoing totally normal and even high percentage shots like this, almost like that button on the controller's broken for them, so they pass it to another player to shoot instead. And after a game of hot potato, that is 5 nopes on a single possession, put it in the Louvre. So Steph Curry has gravity that drags defenders into his orbit, and Wembanyama is like kryptonite. Players don't want to get near him, and those that do are rendered powerless to shoot the closer and closer they get. Even his rear view pursuit freaks players into rush layups when they fear the footsteps from behind. And the Clippers didn't want any part of him in pick and roll, often setting the screen with a wing instead of their center to stay away from the French phenom. This is how every team in the league defends shots inside 14 feet. Without Wemby, the Spurs give up 50 attempts every 100 possessions, and opponents shoot them at about 58%. But when Victor's on the court, they suddenly look like one of the 2 or 3 best interior defenses in the league. And his impact and stats like this that estimate rim protection or paint defense is only matched by Rudy Gobert right now, especially when we include fouling. But I don't think Gobert has Wembanyama's range and versatility, and he certainly can't swivel his hips on a dime like Victor can. So we're now talking about an offensive star who is also a defensive superstar, and as the game slows down for him and he adds strength and more tricks to his bag, the sky is truly the limit. The future aside, his versatile two-way impact is already unmatched in today's game, where Victor Wembanyama is now a top 10 player in the NBA. To support this channel, patreon.com/thinkingbasketball. That's where we have proprietary stats on teams and players throughout the year. We also have a Discord community, and you can get all of our extra video content over there, or sign up on YouTube as a member, where we also live stream the podcast. Thanks for watching all the way to the end on this one. Hope you enjoyed it and that you are having a great day.